You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. This year, the Cambodia International Film Festival hosted its Beautiful Planet program once again, dedicated to environmental education and raising awareness about climate change, in the hopes of shifting narratives towards preserving biodiversity and protecting the environment that Cambodia has. It was also the first time that the festival handed out its Beautiful Planet Award for outstanding contribution to environmental education through film. EAC News attended the film festival this year to get more details on this special program.
This year's Beautiful Planet program had a special focus on the Mekong region and screened films under topics such as biodiversity loss, water resources, rainforest, transportation, agriculture, power, water and food management, climate change, pollution, and indigenous populations. Films such as Dole Trail, Memories, Home, Walking with Giants, and Humans and Elephants put a spotlight on elephant conservation practices, elephant mistreatment, and the unintended consequences of ecotourism. There were intentional documentaries such as Moving Upstream Gangja, Voice of Seeing, Mulberry in the Woods, the traditional Brazilian family Katu, The Last Forest, and Children of the Mist, which explored the daily lives and cultures of different indigenous groups around the world and how they clash with the expectations from the mainstream for better or worse. Tasty Drops, Angias, Traps, Sanung, Throw, Cloakmaker, and My Daily Food focus on Cambodian indigenous groups known as Thapun, Brow, and Jarai, as there is little known recorded information about these groups and their bond and integration with nature. Sea Within a Sea, The Last Breath of the Tonle Sap, and Staying Afloat discuss the different changes being seen in Cambodia's bodies of water, spanning from the impact on the coral reefs at Kosdai to plummeting fish stocks in the Tonle Sap, as well as the impact of the pandemic and dry season on Siem Reap. From wildlife poacher to forest protector depicted the story of a former Khmer soldier who used to poach wildlife but then changed his ways to become a forest ranger protecting wildlife for the next generation. In the same vein, Cambodia Burning showed the changes in the country's landscape and how this has impacted people's lives as well as the future for the next generation. Mekong Downstream and Khmer Cambodia in Conflict by Australian documentary filmmaker James Gerard gave a raw view of Cambodia in the early 1970s and how the country has changed over the past 50 years. Currency is a feature thriller about an investigative journalist and an ocean activist creating a marine conservation area and combating a dangerous, relentless tide of illegal fishing in the Sea of Cambodia, inspiring Cambodian environmentalists to create a better life for their people. Luang Prabang, Will the Mekong's World Heritage and Biodiversity Be Damned, The Bamboos Bridge, Madame's Lian Factory, and Unacquired Land, Echoes from the Hill, and More Than a Tree show the rapid changes, both positive and negative, and how their impact will shape the face of the next generation. The Face of Mekong presented a journey with Cambodian actor Sai along the Mekong River from Ratchathani, Stang Traing to Kaceh Province. The film highlights the difficulties diverse indigenous groups face in those areas and how their livelihoods have been threatened by climate change and the dwindling resources of the river. After several meetings with Oxfam, Sai said that he was interested in this project because he is from Ratchathani and his mother is from Stang Traing. He wanted to show the wonders of the Mekong River as well. Although Sai was used to visiting different villages, this experience has its own difficulties, such as having to carry a lot of equipment through the rainy season and knowing how to make the locals feel comfortable enough to share their stories. One of the moments that stood out to him during this journey was when he was able to get a good night's sleep after a long time while camping on one of the islands. On the flip side, he wished that he was able to make a trip before the last dolphin of Stang Traing died and said he was shocked to see the sorrowful state of Ramsar wetlands.
រំពឹងថានឹងទៅជួបផ្សោតដែលយើងគាត់ថាផ្សោតចុងក្រោយដែលនៅក្នុងខេត្តសង្ត្រៃហ្នឹងប៉ុន្តែយើងទៅអត់តដង្ហើមដែលផ្សោតហ្នឹងគឺស្លាប់នៅក្នុងខែ2ហើយយើងទៅខែ3ហើយដើមឈើតែជាព្រៃរ៉ាំសាដែលនៅដែលដុះដើមរំជែងហ្នឹងដែលវាដុះនៅកណ្ដាលទន្លេហ្នឹងដែលពីក្មេងខ្ញុំធ្លាប់ឃើញច្រើនតែពេលនេះគឺវាងាប់អស់ហើយជា 70-80% ទៅទន្លេអញ្ចឹងនេះគឺជាទស្សនីយភាពដែលរៀងរន្ធត់សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំអញ្ចឹងណា
Min Kim Long, co-founder of Kudu Studios and one of the producers of the documentary, said that it took them about 5 or 6 months to research, film, and write the story. He echoed the hard times of the long travel and unpredictable weather. However, he said he enjoyed the excitement of being able to travel to new places despite having traveled to many places in Cambodia before and being able to hear many unexpected stories. One of the stories that surprised him the most and stayed with him during this journey was about the elderly who work with nature and conserve it.
ខ្ញុំជួបចិត្តជាមួយសាច់រឿងរបស់ពួកគាត់ដូចជាពិសេសអង្គចាស់ៗដែលគាត់មានវ័យអាយុ60 70 តែគាត់បានប្រាប់សាច់រឿងរបៀបគាត់ធ្វើចការវិលជុំ2ឆ្នាំគាត់នៅកោះនេះ2ឆ្នាំគាត់នៅកោះនេះអញ្ចឹងគ្រប់8ឆ្នាំគាត់វិលមកធ្វើកន្លែងហ្នឹងវិញឧបមាគាត់ប្រមូលផលឈើអីចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងមកថាគាត់កាប់ឈើប្រើប្រាស់ដូចគ្នាប៉ុន្តែគាត់មិនមែនកាប់មកកន្លែងដល់អស់ទេគាត់កាប់គាត់មានបរិមាណគាត់ត្រូវការហើយគាត់គ្រប់8ឆ្នាំគាត់វិលមកកាប់វិញអញ្ចឹងអាការប្រមូលផលរបស់គាត់ហ្នឹងវាវិលជុំទៅធ្វើឲ្យអាធនធានធម្មជាតិយើងវាមានsustainable វាមិនមែនកាប់ហើយមកប្រើអស់ទេ
He added that the changing water levels have also impacted the quantity of fish and the living conditions of birds. When they started pre-production for the documentary, he said they were able to record birds perched on the trees, but during the actual production time with Sai, there were no more birds to be found. Visualizing the Mekong focused on a series of documentaries from first-time young Cambodian filmmakers who studied at the Bopana Center. Jak Kompong, Pillarless House, On the Boat on the River, and Diamond in the River follow the lives, traditions, and culture of the people in the lower Mekong, while The Heart of Ramsa, Green Hole, Following Dad's Path, The Treasure of Mekong, and Whose Shadow follow the lives of the people living in the upper Mekong region. The filmmakers and people featured in the film also echoed facing various predicaments because of the weather. Although the people who live along the Mekong are used to the rain and wind, the filmmakers were not, and in the 40 days they spent researching the topic before filming, they said they felt scared, especially when filming on boats. One filmmaker shared that even a pig on the boat was scared because of the weather. Sai hopes that after seeing these documentaries, the audience will become champions of the Mekong by disseminating the values of the river, spreading information about impactful issues, and working on finding solutions together. He stressed that this was important for everyone to do, even if these problems may not directly impact them as much as the people who are living along Mekong. Overall, there were many who joined the screenings, most of whom were students who came to see the local documentaries. Although we may increasingly see natural resources get misused and abused, it seems there is hope yet in our younger generations who are working towards protecting our beautiful planet.
ស្វែងយល់ពីអច្ឆរិយភាពនៃទន្លេមេគង្គជាមួយខ្ញុំទាំងអស់គ្នា